is Rotarian Ovunda Jack Omodu, and I'm here to talk briefly about polio. Poliomyelitis has caused lots of devastating effects in the lives of children and adults. Poliomyelitis has been in existence for a long time. Poliomyelitis is not a death sentence. That's not the end of life. I present to you a polio survivor who has done so well in her endeavor. The person, none other than Mrs. I.B. Osuamkpe.
I was diagnosed with polio at the age of 11, and I've lived with it for 59 years. I woke up one morning and that was it. My right leg was gone. By the following morning, my left leg was gone and I couldn't sit. So I will always say that the fact that I can sit today is a miracle. My parents were both in the medical profession. My mom was a nurse, my father was a pharmacist. So naturally, they tried to do everything they could to ensure that we overcome this. And I had to leave school for about 5 years. At the end of the day, it was decided that I should go back to school and start all over again, which I did.
The peak of polio was in 1955, devastating and debilitating families, ravaging families with paralysis and its consequent effects. When I.B. Osuamkpe was born, she was normal. But when the poliomyelitis affected her, it caused her paralysis. The family was devastated. But I thank God that with interventions of several means, she was able to survive. She didn't succumb to the poliomyelitis, and today she's a great survivor, doing fantastically well in what she's doing.
In terms of treatment, well, yes, I was given medical attention. In fact, initially, we couldn't quite decide if it was polio or if it was meningitis, because I had the symptoms of meningitis as well. At the time, it was a bit difficult to tell, and I had doctors come take a look at me. Like I said, my parents were both in the medical profession, so I had doctors come to view my case and see what they could do. And naturally, when nothing happened, we went the spiritual way, and I attended all sorts of spiritual homes and native doctors. At the end of the day, my parents decided that for as long as I had to live with polio, the best way forward was to rehabilitate me at home. I didn't really attend any rehabilitation center or anything like that. With the help of my family, I didn't really get much help like from the government or anything. No, it was basically family. My family was my full support, and when I went back to school, I had friends who would push me if I needed assistance and all that. Going to the university was a bit more difficult. It was a different ball game because everybody's doing their own thing. I too tried to do my own thing. It was a bit of an uphill task because I had lecturers upstairs or lectures upstairs, and the lecturers will not bring their lectures downstairs. So yes, I had to overcome that. I had friends, like I said, I would take their notes. All in all, it was trying to survive this thing that not many people understood. I didn't have friends who were physically challenged that were in school. So I knew that this was it, and I had to help myself. And with the help of God and my family, I graduated.
With support of family and healthcare workers, IB was able to push through, despite periods of pains, dismay, disappointment, but everything went on well.
After my university education, I now began to face life as a woman, and I got a job, got married at some point, and God blessed me with 2 children, 2 daughters. This was almost 30 years ago. I have, with the help of God, I think I have lived a full life. I love God, I love life, and I will say to anyone that is physically challenged, I will say this is not the end of the road. Putting yourself out and not letting anyone put you down is the best thing you can do for yourself. And where it looks like all is lost, holding on to the source of life, God, is the best thing you can do for yourself as well. I've tried to laugh at obstacles, and I have succeeded. I know of a man who, though not physically challenged, used to take his PA along with him whenever I traveled abroad, and a wheelchair. He would travel abroad, and when he got to the airport in Nigeria, he would go in his wheelchair. He would come down from his car, sit on his wheelchair, and they'll push him to the plane. He'll get into the plane and pack his wheelchair with him. And as soon as he landed outside Nigeria, he was physically challenged. Why? Because it is easier to be a physically challenged person outside the shores of this nation. Here, you can't even go through the bank. You can't get into the banking hall with your wheelchair. Everything will beep. I was saying to my accounts officer today, I said, everyone knows my PIN, my ATM card. Everyone knows my PIN. Because if I have to use the ATM machine, I simply give you my card and say, here, this is my PIN. Please withdraw so amount for me if I needed to use my card. Thank God for being able to bank with your phone. But before then, it was the card. So everyone knows my PIN. I don't think it's the same thing outside here. Whatever the case is, we're Nigerians. And until that help comes, where a physically challenged person will go to a wheelchair user will go to the ATM machine that is wheelchair friendly, until that time, we will encourage ourselves. You will encourage yourself and find a way out. The sky, they say, is the limit, but I say beyond the sky. Do the best you can. Have a positive attitude. And if you hear anything negative, just push it away and move on, because there is tomorrow. And that tomorrow you will see by the grace of God. How did I survive the emotional aspect? Well, when this first happened, like I said, I was just 11. I was a child, and I didn't really understand what was going on. But as the days turned to months, it became a bit difficult to take. And there were times when I missed home. I had to go to healing homes. They kept me in healing homes, and I missed home. I knew my younger sister, I just have a younger sister, and I knew my younger sister was going on educationally, and I missed that. I missed talking to my friends on the same level. Like I said, I left school for 5 years. So when I went back to school, I had my mates in Form 5 and I was in Form 1. It was a bit tough emotionally. When I became a teenager, I missed going for school debates and school social occasions. When I became an adult, a full-blown adult, there were things I missed. I missed going for parties with my friends. But like I will always say, life is good. I just said to my friends, LG, life is good. It's all about how positive you are, what you choose to take. I've had my times of really, really wishing that I wasn't in a wheelchair. Really wishing that I could step out and feel good about my legs. I've had times when I've heard people say things, really derogatory things about me or my situation. And when such things happen, I just go into my room, put a pillow over my face, and scream if I need to. But I'm generally I used to be an extrovert. I'm not that anymore, but like I said, and I will always say, it's all about your attitude. There are down times, there are up times, and there are times when I have said, praise God. Because I tell my friends that I have been able to go into places that they will never be able to enter. Some of them will never be able to enter. Are you? Yes, I am. Oh, come this way. Come. I don't pass. So, emotionally, maybe as a teenager, more as a teenager. But as I got older, I won't really say I've accepted my fate. No, I believe God for miracles. I believe in miracles. But I also believe that while this lasts, we'll make the best of it. Sometimes I feel bad when I'm driving and someone hits me from behind. And I can't calm down and say, do you know who I am? Well, I sit in my car and it has happened. And I move on. When I get home, I take a look at the damage, and if I can get it done with, I get it done. It's all about being positive. And I thank God for giving me that outlook. God has given me grace. This has not come from me or the society, or maybe even my family. My family has, my external family and my nuclear family have played a huge role in who I am today. But God has played the biggest role. Whenever, talking about emotions, when I get too emotional, there's a place to go to. I just go to Him and He gives me strength. Strength for today, strength for the next hour, strength for tomorrow.
You know what happens when a child has polio? There are periods of challenges where the child won't understand why he or she could not walk while her friends and her mates are walking. There are periods where they may seem to be like a laughing stock to their mates. But a survivor put through. She made it despite all odds. And she's a living testimony to others who are suffering from poliomyelitis. With the story of IB, we can all see that with hope, resilience, and support, that anyone can survive this daunting challenge of poliomyelitis in the society. All odds are not against those bearing poliomyelitis, and we are here to always support.
I may have been diagnosed with polio, but I refuse to be limited by polio. I'm a survivor. Thank God.